Hi there. I know I haven't done a food video in ages. So here I want to show you how to make kefir. This is a jar of kefir that's almost ready to drink. The way kefir, maybe I should back up. You know what? There's a history behind kefir, and it's been around for thousands of years. And it's something that you can't just make. You have to get a little bit from somebody else, like sourdough. You need somebody to share with you. Somebody in California shared some kefir grains with me. Kefir grains look a lot like little pieces of cauliflower. They're just like little crumbly chunks. And you put them in milk because they eat the sugar out of the milk. That's their food. So if someone's lactose intolerant, kefir is a good thing for them to have, but I wouldn't recommend the kefir you get from the store. The kefir you get from the store has um, added things to it, added bacterias and things that don't belong in kefir. Also, it doesn't have all the ones that are in the real kefir. Real kefir has over 50 different good probiotics in it. And you'll find the ones at the store might have 10 or 12, and all of those aren't necessarily ones to be there. They're more there to make it palatable. Okay. But this is my jar of kefir that's ready to go. What I want to show you is these little water bubbles down here. That tells you that it's ready to strain. What we're going to do is put this through a strainer so that we can get the grains back out and give them new milk to work on. When we take the grains out, this then becomes kefir that you can drink. This is a little more fermented than I'd like it to be because the bigger the bubble, it means it ran out of food. We don't want it to run out of food. We want it to have just enough. So when I see the first bubbles form, I know it's time to strain it. It's summer now, and because it's summer, it's actually fermenting faster than it was in the winter. Our house is warmer, and it doesn't like it when it's really warm. Anything over 77 or 78 can get a little too warm for it, and it can go very quickly at that rate. I like it best when it goes 24 hours, and that's really how it's originally used, was how it was developed, was to be every 24 hours. You just do it. Next day you got it. Next day you got it. So let me show you what I just finished stirring it up just to make it a little easier to pour out. And I forgot to get my strainer. Where's my strainer? There it is. Sorry, I kept looking at my stuff. You can tell I haven't done a cooking video in a while. I'm a little out of sorts. I'm a little out of practice. And I thought I had everything out. And now I'm looking at this bowl. Okay. So there's a strainer. It's just a small strainer. I'm going to back you up so you can see more of what's going on. You don't need me. What you need is the bowl. Here's my bowl. Here's my strainer. Here's my stirred up kefir. I'm pouring that in. One of the marvels about kefir is how it helps to reestablish your gut biome. And if you've been on antibiotics at all over the years, if you didn't eat really well, or we've eaten over the years, we've eaten a lot of processed food, and until we help our body restore that gut biome, it's very hard for it to get it back again. Processed food does not help our gut biomes to be healthy. It actually is detrimental. And by processed food, I mean anything that comes from a box, a bag, a can, and it has a label on it. If you have to say this is made from something, then you know it's been processed. So now you can see I'm just stirring this to help get the liquid through. What I'm going to, and some of this is milk curdles. So I'm not pressing it down. I'm more scooping under it just so that it keeps getting turned around. I want the milk, even the milk curdles, they will kind of grate their way through the strainer. I just keep pushing it around until what I end up with is a little pile of grains. See that? That's about a tablespoon. I could probably use less than that because of it being warmer. It's going more quickly now. So what I think I'll do then, I think I have a clean jar here to put my grains in. And I'm going to put half the amount in. And actually I have a big grain there. I'm going to go with the little grains. The little grains are actually the more active grains than the big ones. So I'm just going to put that little dab. That's about a teaspoon and a half in there. Pour in milk. I use whole milk. There we go. Almost a quart. Put the lid on, and now I just put that in the cupboard. You might be thinking, what? But that's how it ferments. It ferments at room temperature. So I'm going to take this, and you can see where I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go right over here to my cupboard. Make a little room for it. Here, that's it. That's how you make kefir. It's like, how can that be? How can it be so easy? Well, that's what it is. And I've got these extra grains, and what I'm actually going to do is make a second jar because I'm making some for somebody. So I'm gonna split it and do 2 jars today. There's somebody at church who's been sick and has asked me to help her with the kefir. She's been on a lot of antibiotics, and this will help her. And I'll put a lid and put that in the cupboard. And so 24 hours from now, it's going to be thick like what I poured out in here. And I'm just going to strain it, and it's going to be ready. So now my strainer's empty. I used all those kefir grains in the 2 jars. And you do have to split them off. About every 2 weeks, they double. And if you're not going to make kefir out of them, you either give them to somebody else, or you can put them in milk and stick them in the refrigerator, and that kind of puts them on hold. It puts them to sleep for a while. They don't like being in the refrigerator. It's really kind of cold for them, but I'm not going to throw them out. They're too good. And I don't want to make too much kefir because it over ferments. Like, you'll end up with that big water bubble down there, and you don't actually get more benefit from over fermenting it. People think, oh, I'm going to get more of the probiotics if I ferment it longer. It actually doesn't work that way. At least with kefir, it doesn't. You end up starving the kefir grains, and it ends up killing the bacteria. So you end up losing the good probiotics by over fermenting it. You just want to ferment it just enough. Just enough. So there we go. Now here's kefir that's ready to drink, and we store this kefir in the refrigerator. But not without first having a little sip. I love it when it's fresh. Tastes kind of like buttermilk. Tastes a lot like buttermilk. And there's something else you can do if you aren't fond of the flavor, and it'll grow on you. My mom used to hate it, and now she likes it. So now she just drinks it the way it is. But it's your body will adjust to the flavor as your microbiome adapts to it. You will find that you like it better because your body's more willing to accept it. Oh, there's Teresa and Rita and someone else. Where do you get the grain? I've heard you can buy it on Amazon, but they give you this little teeny tiny amount, and they charge you like $18 for it. You can get it from a friend. You can get it from me. If you just want to cover my cost of shipping, I'd be happy to send you some. Or you can put a request out on Facebook Marketplace, or you can see if somebody near you has it. It's handier if it's somebody near you. But I got mine from a guy in California. So there's websites where you can buy it. There's Cultured Food Life. She's in California, and I know you can buy grains from her. they just keep doubling. And then when you have more, you start giving them away, which I do. I try to give them away. Hi, Nanza, how you doing? And I'm always looking for people to give them to, and especially folks at church, people who I know could use a boost in their immune system. I offer the kefir grains to them. Some people want them and some people don't, because it's like having a little pet. You have to take care of it every day. You just have to strain it and give it some milk. It's no big deal. But if you know you're not going to be home, you just take the milk with the grains and stick it in the fridge, and they'll go to sleep for a while. And then when you come home, you can put it back in the cupboard, and it'll start making kefir again. It's very hard to kill them. So like you might think, oh no, I left it in the cupboard for 3 days and it's half milk and half water and I've killed them. No, you haven't killed them. Just stir it up and strain it and start over. That's all. So, and Nan says it's happy to see you. My friend here whose name I can't pronounce says, please, I'll pay you the shipping. That'd be fine. I'd be happy to send you some. My email is my name, Sue Resig, SUERESIG@gmail.com. If you want to email me and give me your name and address and stuff, I can get some mailed off to you. Let's see what else. Oh, that was it. If you want to improve the flavor a little bit, and I only do this once in a while because I like it the way it is, but hang on. You can put some lemon peel in. So this is an old lemon. It feels kind of hard, but I'll show you. I just take some lemon. Boy, that one's really hard. I guess I need a fresher lemon. There we go. Piece of lemon peel like that. And it's even got a little bit of the pulp on there. And I just dropped it in. Drop it in, and then I leave it out for a couple hours. And that actually, it's called a second ferment when you do that. When you put just a little bit, by giving them a little bit of this lemon peel, you're giving it more food. When you give it more food, it starts to ferment again. Remember, I had that bubble down at the bottom, which means it had eaten all the food already. By giving it this slice of lemon peel, it actually boosts the probiotics. There'll be even more probiotic in there after just 2 hours of sitting on the counter with the lemon. Now remember, there's no grains in here. This is the kefir that we had ready to drink. I put the lemon in. I'll let it sit here an hour or two, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator. And this is good to drink, and this will last for months in your refrigerator. Kefir, once it's been fermented, it lasts a very long time. It's a way of preserving milk. So it would come in very handy for preserving milk if you needed it, but it's so good for helping your digestive tract. My daughter-in-law was here at Christmas time. We had all our family here, and I said, "Oh, you want to try it?" Because I'd been doing it for a few months, and we hadn't seen each other yet. So I said, "You want to try the kefir?" She's like, "It's dairy. I don't do dairy." I'm like, "Really? I didn't know that." Just come to find out, she was lactose intolerant, and I didn't know that. And I think it had gotten worse over the years, because it seems like I would have heard that before if I'd known. So I said, well, just have a little bit, because technically there's no lactose in here, because the kefir grains have digested it and eaten it. So she took just a little bit, like 1 or 2 tablespoons, and she had no problem. And then she said, well, I'll try it again. And so I was able to send her home with some kefir grains. And my son, he was raised in my household. He's like all over this. I'll make kefir grains. So he's making kefir milk every day. And my son and his wife have some kefir every day. Well, now she can eat dairy products and have no problem, because she's repopulated her gut with the kefir that she drinks. She makes sure she has some almost every day. She said she might miss a day here or there, but for the most part, she has a little bit every day. She just has like a quarter to a half a cup every day, and it's helped her so much to be able to tolerate dairy products again, which is good, because that happens. You go out and you have something and you don't want to get sick from it. And then I shared it with my mother now, and she drinks it every day faithfully. I don't know how it's helping her, but I'm pretty sure she knows it's helping her, because she wouldn't keep doing it if she didn't believe in it. And it's just, she's not always real sensitive to how she feels. But my mom is faithful. She's 91, drinks her kefir every day, but she's so excited about it, again, because it's helpful. She's sharing it with everyone that she meets. She gives grains away just like we're giving grains to everybody. And there, one of the ladies that she volunteers with has had a terrible stomach problem for a long time. I don't know how many years, but she's had stomach problems for a long time. And she's vegetarian, so she will eat dairy products. And Mom said, well, I think you should try this. And she did. And she is sold. She feels so much better having a little kefir every day. And everyone's amazed at how easy it is to do. I mean, really, you take the jar, you dump it in the strainer, you mix it around until you have just the grains left. You plop them in a jar and give them milk and put it in the cupboard. I mean, how much easier can it get? The only mistake you have to watch out, if you're busy doing stuff and talking to people, you might put the wrong thing in the fridge and the wrong thing in the cupboard. We have been known to do that. So this is the milk with the kefir grains, and I'm going to go put those in the cupboard. It's not my usual cupboard to put them in. I usually put them over here, but I wanted you to see me putting them in a cupboard so you'd have a mental picture of put them in the cupboard. And if you think there's a chance you could forget them, put them in a cupboard. Like I should put them in this cupboard right in front of me where I won't forget that. If it's a cupboard I'm in during the course of the day, I'll see it and be like, oh, that's right, I want to do my kefir. Or maybe you need to put a little sticky note sign out for yourself saying feed the kefir, something like that, so you don't forget. Again, even if you do forget and it ends up being 3 days, and you come back and you see like it's half milk and half water, don't panic. You didn't kill them. They just really ran out of food. And all you have to do is mix it up and strain it. It's going to be a little tougher to strain because the milk's all clumpy. But you can actually pour fresh milk over it to kind of help wash the grains off. And then just go ahead and start over. It's not, and you can eat that, when it's, some people like to do it that way. They like to make it so that it's half water and half milk, which I don't understand because you lose a lot of the probiotic benefit. However, they like to make cheese out of that thick part. And I've done that when by, for whatever reason, I know, we went to my mother's and forgot to take it out of the cupboard. So we were gone for the weekend and we came back, and of course it's really separated. So I strain off the clear part, which is whey. I clear off the whey. And then with the milk part that was thick, it was kind of like cream cheese. I just made a dip out of it and we ate it with crackers. So, don't waste it. No, you didn't kill them, and go ahead and do it again. So if there's anybody here who wants grains, I know one of our friends here wants grains, send me an email, sueresig@gmail.com, and we'll make arrangements for me to send you some grains, okay? And that's it. I just wanted you to see how easy this is. And Chris drinks almost a quart a day, and then I drink a little bit. I've been drinking half a cup a day, and I recently was talking with the lady that I learned this from, and she said, I think you should, for me, for some things I'm working on, she said, try a cup a day. So I'm going to boost mine up to having a cup a day. See if that makes a difference. So, all right, that's it. And I don't know, I might do another video on how I make the yogurt. There's a yogurt called reuteri yogurt, and it's really powerful stuff. I was in a Q&A. I'll just keep going. I was in a Q&A last night with the lady from Cultured Food Life. And because I'm one of her Biotic Pro members, which means I pay her a little bit every month to belong, we could have this live Q&A through a Zoom call. And it was very interesting hearing other people's questions and comments. And there was one lady there who's a dental hygienist, who's worked as a dental hygienist for like 40 years. And she's in this one office with a holistic dentist who really wants people to have healthy mouth and healthy teeth. And, it's another form of the medical industry. So you have to be careful who you listen to in terms of, regular doctors and things like that, because what they know is just different than what we've found out to be correct. So she said at her office, her doctor, she shared with her dentist about this L. reuteri yogurt. Here, let me type it over here so you know what I'm talking about. L stands for lactobacillus, okay? So there's the L. reuteri. And you can do a search for that and find out more about it. It's amazing stuff. L. reuteri, Lactobacillus reuteri, is a bacteria that we get from our mothers when we pass through the birth canal and are nursed. And if we've had antibiotics at any time in our life, we've lost it. It was all killed off by the antibiotics. And this is the only way to get it back, is through this special yogurt that you make. You have to get the culture to start it from someplace to do it. Now, I did that. I bought the culture. Here it is. L. reuteri starter culture. Can you see that? I don't know if I need more light. Can you see that? L. reuteri starter culture for making cultured dairy. Technically, it's not yogurt because it doesn't have acidophilus in it. That's the definition. But it's thick and it's just like yogurt. If you want to know more about it, you can. William Davis did a lot of research on it. But this is through Cultured Food Life that I bought this. And it has these little packets that are kind of like, where are they? Like tea bags. There we go. It's this. And it has the culture, the starter culture in it. And I follow her directions to make it. But I've only needed to use one sachet, because once you make the yogurt, you use some of the yogurt to make your next batch. So this is just an emergency sachet that I keep in my freezer should something ever happen to my yogurt. Like we ate it all up and didn't realize I didn't have another jar. You need a couple tablespoons to make more in your next quart. And, I have it just in case. I'll put it that way. I have it just in case. And so you take milk, you put your starter culture in it, you give it a little bit of food. In my case, I use tapioca starch. And you have to hold it at 100 degrees for 36 hours. And I use something called a sous vide. And someday I'll show it to you someday when we're actually making the yogurt. I'm just telling you about it now to pique your interest so you can do a little research yourself on it. And the L. reuteri yogurt is known for helping so many things because it's something that an infant would have. It helps with muscle growth. It helps with repair of muscles. So I've been exercising. I go over to the gym 3 days a week and we do this class and weights and the whole thing. And if I don't eat the yogurt, I'm really sore the next day. But if I come home and eat a half a cup of yogurt, and that's all I eat, I come home and eat a half a cup of this cultured dairy with the L. reuteri in it, I have no muscle soreness, and I'm getting stronger every time I go. When I first started, I couldn't even use the weights because my muscles were so sore. Like just going through the motions, my back would get sore and my arms and my thighs. And then I took my own 2-pound weights in for a little bit, and then I started using their 5-pound weights. And today I was using 8-pound weights. So I'm definitely seeing improvement, which is great because last year I was diagnosed with, what was it called? Sarcopenia. And that's atrophy of the muscles. And you can see that they did an MRI through my abdomen and an MRI through my thighs. And it showed that all my muscles were atrophied. They were just all teeny tiny and they weren't healthy muscle. It had fat in the muscle. And what caused that, a lot of things I think caused it. I think part of it is menopause, but I think the other part of it, it's the high carbohydrate diet that I've been following for years. And I've had stop my carbohydrates. And just the only carbohydrates I allow myself are like the kefir and the yogurt, and there's not hardly any in there, not hardly any. And then and I'm eating a high protein, high fat diet now. But boy, what improvement I've seen in my body from introducing these good probiotics back into my system. So much better than a pill, because your body knows what to do with food, real food, and it knows where to put the probiotics that need to be there. Sometimes when you take a probiotic pill, it can open up anywhere. You don't know if it's going to open up in your stomach or in your small intestine or your large intestine, or if it's going to open up at all and then dump out billions of stuff that might not even be in the right place and may be all out of balance. So having it in the form of food is better. Okay, there's a question here. Aaron says, hi, how you doing? And she says, do you have to boil the milk before? No, we are not. This, for making kefir, you don't boil the milk. I'm just taking milk right out of the jug from the refrigerator and pouring it in. And I'm not using organic milk. I'm using just regular old whole milk from the grocery. The probiotics in the kefir actually digest and break down the bad stuff that could possibly be there, and just it makes it a health drink, and breaks down the casein, it breaks down the sugars, and just puts all these good healthy probiotics in there. So no, you don't have to boil the milk. This is just straight out of the refrigerator. It's so funny after all these years to be having dairy products again. And I'm running down to the grocery all the time to get more milk because we go through a jug every 4 days, because we make a quart a day. And so we go through a jug every 4 days, and I just went and got 2 jugs because I'm making yogurt now too. I'll show you what I've got going on over here. This is my little workstation over here. Here's a big pot of milk. That's 6 quarts of milk. This, for the yogurt, I don't have to boil it, but I do have to bring it to 195 degrees and then let it sit at 195 degrees for 10 minutes. So what I do is I bring it up to 195, I put the lid on and turn off the burner and let it just sit, and it'll hold that temperature. Then you heard my timer go in the other video. When the timer goes, I take the lid off and then I let it sit, and it takes about an hour for it to cool off to 100 degrees. I want it to go to 100 degrees. And then I've got this big pot here next to it with these big let me see if I can see, you can see it. It's got big 2-quart jars, and I'll fill each one of these jars with a mixture of this milk mixed with, and then remember, I bring it down to 100 degrees. I bring it down, and then I mix it with tapioca starch and some of my current yogurt as my starter. And I mix that all together. I even put in a little half and half, because it just seems to make it nicer if you put a little half and half in there. I don't know if it feeds it better or what, but the half and half, and then pour it in these jars, put lids on them, and then I put water in the pot, and I have a tool called a sous vide. Let me show you what that is. I was introduced to it years ago, a sous vide, because people use it for cooking meat. I wasn't interested. I'm not interested in cooking meat with this thing. But this is a sous vide. Let me get it so you're not. There we go. This is sous vide. It's got a little screen on the top, and it hooks onto the side of the pot and sits down in the water. And what it does is it circulates the water. You can see where it pulls it in. It circulates the water at a certain temperature. So I set it for 100 degrees, and I set it for 36 hours. And then that way it holds my yogurt at just the right temperature. There we go. So it starts out giving me a temperature. I don't want that temperature, so I'm going to reduce that temperature. There, 100 degrees, and then I would set the timer. For 36 hours. And then my jars of milk in there will be held for 36 hours. There. And then if I hit the go button, but it's not in water, so it wouldn't like that. I have to wait until it's in water to hit the button to send it to go. That's just like a computer. You hit the little triangle and that'll make it go. And it'll just start circulating the water. And it'll show you the starting temperature might be, I'll use some more warm water from the tap. It might be like 95 degrees, and it'll bring it up to 100, and then it'll hold it. And while that's in there, I'll put like some plastic wrap over the top of the pot so that the water doesn't evaporate. I'll put plastic wrap over there and bring it up around the tool. This will be on here like that. And then put a towel over it just to help keep the heat in so it doesn't have to work so hard. And then in a day and a half, 36 hours later, I've got 3 big jugs of yogurt, and I put them in the refrigerator, and we go through about a jug a week, which, well, I take that back, about 1.5 quarts a week. If I fill it up full, that's a little bit more than we need in a week. But that's how I make the reuteri yogurt. And it's really good. So that's the one you do have to heat up. Does anyone else have any questions? Kitty, what are you doing over here? I guess that's it. All right. Well, good. I just hope you are taking interest in the kefir, and before long, our other friend here will have grains to share too. And do some research. Go online and look up kefir. Look up reuteri yogurt. I recommend Cultured Food Life. Her videos are very good and instructional, and tells you she's done a lot of research onto how beneficial they are. And Dr. William Davis, he's the one who did a lot of work on the reuteri yogurt. And there's actually an interview between Dr. William Davis and the lady, I forget her name now, Donna Schwanke. They did an interview together talking about the benefits of reuteri. So I would suggest listening to that. And something to look into, more ways that we can help our bodies be strong and healthy and young. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.